Hey everyone, a very warm welcome to the session. I hope I'm audible and visible. Can you guys see me? Can you guys hear me? A very good evening and very warm welcome to Career Launcher CMAT Reading Comprehension and Grammar Session 5 today. We'll be covering more of grammar today and then a bit of RC where we left last time. I hope everybody can see me and hear me clearly. Please give a heads up on the comment box, guys. I'll wait for a few seconds for everyone to join in before we start. We have very important topics to cover. One is going to be the tenses and the other is subject-verb agreement from grammar and some passages from humanities for reading comprehension. Okay, so before we start, any doubts, any questions, anything we attempted from the mocks or previous CMAT questions, in case you have any queries and we can take them up here. Yes, can you guys hear me? Can you guys see me? I don't see any comments so far. Am I audible? Hello? No, ma'am. All right, Rahul, good to see you here. Very good evening and a very warm welcome back. Perfect. So let's get started with tenses. And also we're going to touch base on subject-verb agreement, a few concepts on the same. We'll try some basic questions and then we'll move to reading comprehension if the time permits. Okay. So to start with tenses, what is your basic understanding? Why do we use tenses? What does it denote? When I say tense, what comes to your mind? We talk about time, right? And we talk about time in the three realms, right? That is past, present, and future, right? So basically by time, what are we referring to? We're referring to the action. When was an action performed? Or if we talk about the state of existence, right? Which state of existence are we referring to? Was it the past tense? Is it something which is currently happening? Or are we talking about 5 years down the line, the future, right? So for tenses, we have three basic parts: past, present, and future. And then we have simple or indefinite, right? We have continuous, perfect, and then perfect continuous. Okay. We have certain rules to be followed for every type of tense, whether it is simple, continuous, perfect, or perfect continuous. And also, when it comes to future, we have a certain, specific rule to be followed. I'll just write it down all for you so that things become very clear. So, one thing for us to remember is when we talk about nouns, right? And for example, if I say book and I add s to it, it becomes books, right? So this is singular. When you add s to it, it becomes plural, right? The noun, when you add s to it, it becomes plural. Whereas in case of verbs, things are a little different. If I say dance and I add s or es to it, I get dances. Okay, so this is itself plural. When you add s or es to it, it becomes singular. Okay, dances is singular, dance is plural. I hope we will remember this concept. It's a very small thing, I know, but most of us tend to make mistakes here. If not in tenses, we do it in subject-verb agreement. Another thing to be remembered is if I say, I went to my college yesterday. Right? So, is the sentence correct? Can we use did with went? So, we have go, went, and gone. Okay? So, this is V1, this is V2, this is V3. And I'm already using do, did, done. I'm already using verb second form already here. Right? Can I say went here? No. I need to use verb first form. So whenever it is did, we always use verb first form with it, right? We can't say went, it should be go. I know it's a very basic concept. We tend to make mistake. Therefore, I am making sure that this is highlighted. We know it explicitly rather than me assuming that you guys already know it. Done with this? Okay, another important concept to remember here is whenever we use continuous tense, right? जब भी continuous tense use करते हैं, we always use an ing form. Always. Right? By continuous, what do we refer to? What do we mean by continuous tense? By continuous, we mean that the action has to be in continuity. Right? The action has to be in continuity. Now, if I say it is past continuous, so that very movement, when I'm referring to, even if this movement lies somewhere in the past, right? At that particular moment, the action should be in continuation. If I'm talking about the present movement, right? This is present movement. Okay. The action should be in continuation at this present moment. And maybe I'm referring to something in future, right? This is something which is referring to future. So again, the action should be in continuation when we talk about this particular point. This will be future continuous. So every time I'll be using continuous tense, I'll be using V1 with an ing. Are we good with this? Right? Next important concept. If we use perfect tense, we always use verb third form. Okay? If we use perfect tense, we always use verb third form. Also, it is juxtaposed with has, have, had. Okay? So always and always verb third form comes with has, have, had. Are we clear on this? I hope we are good so far. Can we move ahead? Okay. All right. So when we use future, right? When we talk about future tense, we will always use will, shall, can, could, all these modals. And we will always use plural form of verb. Okay. Akash, hi, good to see you here. So when you're using future tense, we use plural form of verb. If I'm using future tense, I'll be using will, shall. That goes without saying, right? If I'm using perfect tense, I'll be using verb third form. If it is continuous, I have to use ing form. Okay? Now I'm going to take you to a table. We'll quickly run through all the rules. I'll also give you syntax in case we need it in between. And maybe if you can also help me out with some sentence for each tense type, that would also help. Okay? Let's quickly go through this table before we move ahead. So this is present, past, future. Okay? And this is simple or it could be indefinite. Right? The rest is same. We have continuous, we have perfect continuous. Okay. So when do we use simple continuous tense? Would be use करेंगे जब हम future को refer करेंगे तो would be use करेंगे. Guys, yes. Please tell me, when do we use simple present tense? Whenever you have any fact being stated, right? For example, the earth revolves around the sun, right? The earth rotates. The sun rises in the east. Right? Or the company made a turnover of, say, $7.8 billion. Right? So turnover of the company. So this is something which has happened in the past. Right? Any fact which is stated, any number which is stated has to come up with a simple present tense. Right? So company makes a turnover of $7.8 billion. Right? Similarly, if you have any piece of news, right? Or if you have any cricket commentary, any commentary for it, that matter. Okay. If you have any schedule being referred to, right? For example, the flight lands at 7 a.m. in Delhi, right? So at 7 a.m. Prime Minister addresses the crowd tomorrow at say 10 a.m. at some particular location. So everywhere we're using simple present tense, right? The batsman hits the ball in a certain manner, so hits, right? Apart from that, if you have any action which is done more like a habit, right? For example, if I say she jogs every day, okay, she drops the kids to school every day. So drops, jogs, rises, all of these are simple present tense where we're using. What do we use in simple present tense? What's the syntax here? The syntax is going to be very simple. You understand what we mean by subject? I'll just explain it to you in case you do not. Subject with s or es with a verb and the object. Okay. So first thing first, what is a subject? What is an object? Quickly, let's have a look at it. For example, if I say Henry kicked his football. Okay. So here, Henry is the action initiator, right? And this is your action receiver. Okay. So you initiate the action gets transferred on football here. Okay. So this is my subject. This is my object. Okay. We'll also talk about subject and subject verb agreement, but for you now, to remember, this is your subject. So this is also your noun, of course. If you talk if you refer to the parts of speech, it comes up as a noun, but otherwise it is an action initiator. So it should be referred as subject. Okay. If I say Valentine's Day is around, Henry gave a red rose to Sally. Okay. So here Henry, of course, is the subject, but we have a red rose and Sally. And this, of course, is the object, but this is referred as a direct object. This is referred as indirect object. Okay. Not to go in depth, but just for you to remember, I gave you these examples. Coming back to where we were. So we have subject plus V1 with an SES or object. So again, the sentences you can consider: the batsman swings the bat forcefully, right? Phenomenally. So swings. Okay. Could you see this? This is your verb. Swing coming with an S. Okay. She jogs every day. Okay. So jogs. This comes up with jog plus S. Okay. So we have subject with a V1 with an S or ES. I hope this makes sense. All right. So this is simple present tense. When it comes to simple past tense, what do we use? The only thing that changes is we use the verb second form. Okay. So when it comes to simple past tense, one, what is the syntax? So we got to look at the syntax. It's very simple. It is subject plus verb second form plus object. Okay. Not going in depth, but yes, to remember, we should know that simple past tense it takes second form of the verb, which means the action is accomplished. Okay. It no more impacts the present. No impact in present. Okay. At this moment, there's no impact. There's no how the question will be asked. Akash, us pe bhi discussion karte hain. No, forcefully cannot be a helping verb. It's going to be an adverb, right? It's impacting the action, how the batsman swings. So swings is the verb, right? And forcefully shows that how he swings. So it's an adverb. It cannot be a verb or a helping verb either. We'll come back to questions. I'll quickly run you through all the types, all the syntax, and then we move to the questions. So this is subject, verb, second form. We use simple past tense when there is no impact at this present moment. I had my dinner last night. I partied last night. It's done and dusted. Doesn't impact my present. Okay. Then comes the future, simple future tense, right? So of course, how is the syntax gonna be? It's simple. Subject plus will always be there. I told you, and then will shall do something, right? So she will have her breakfast around 9 a.m. tomorrow, right? So she will, right? Will have, will eat, right? So we always use plural form of verb. Plural verb means we use V1. Okay. So she will eat her breakfast tomorrow. So simply object. You can probably try framing sentences like this, right? So I'll come back to the table quickly and run you through this so that we do not take a lot of time on just these syntaxes. But this is good to follow because if you have a certain rule, certain documentary for your rules, you do not have to sway a lot thinking around what tense of the sentence should be, right? You know which direction to follow. When we use continuous tense, as I said, we always use ing form. And if we use ing form, guys, there's an important thing. Please focus here. Whenever we are using an ing form with verb, we always use is, are, am, was, were, has, have, and had. Okay. All of these are form of a verb itself, right? This spring out of this beautiful form of verb be. What does be refer to? Be means existence, right? It refers to exist. The leaves are green. Are they performing any action? No. But that shows the state of existence, right? So leaves are green. So is, are, am, was, were, has, have, had, all of them show the state of existence, right? They are not any specific verb, but they do show the state of action, state of existence rather than the action. So whenever we use continuous tense, we will always use these forms of be along with it, depending whether it's present, past, or future. But we definitely use the form of we or be itself whenever it is future, right? We do not have to worry about the tense of the sentence when it comes to continuous because we know it has to have a verb with an ing. So we don't worry about it's going to be V1, V2, or V3. When it's perfect, it has to be verb third form along with has, have, had, as I've already made it clear. So if it is present perfect tense, so when do we use present perfect tense? I hope we can probably discuss about continuous later when we come to the sentences. It is very simple. When it is present continuous, we use is, are, am with a V1 with an ing. When it is past, it turns to was, were. If it is future, it has to have a will because I told you future will always have will, shall, right? And plural form of verb. If at all we are using V1, V2, V3, it always chooses V1. Right? So this is something you can anyway remember. Coming on to perfect tense, and that too present perfect tense. Present and past perfect both are equally important. Rather, past perfect is more important. Right? So when we talk about present perfect tense, perfect means we're going to use V3. Present means we're going to use has, have. Okay? How do we frame the part? It refers to basically present perfect tense is used when we are referring to any action which has been completed, but the impact is still there at the present moment. Right? For example, if I say, I have just had my dinner, or I've just watered the plants. Right? So if I say I've just watered my plants, this action is over. Right? But because I say just, it feels like it just happened. It's still impacting my present. Okay, so I've just watered my plants, it's still impacting it. Okay, so we always use verb third form along with has, have, had. Okay, whereas when we use past perfect tense, this is very, very important, guys. Please be careful here. When we talk about past perfect tense, we refer to two actions. We refer to two actions happening one after the other, not simultaneously per se, but first one action has to happen, then the other one happens. For example, by the time the doctor arrived, the patient had died. Okay, now there's an important thing. What's that important thing here? By the time the doctor arrived, right? We're using doctor arrived. That's phase one. The patient had died. Seems to be phase two. But if you look at the sequence of the events, naturally the patient died first and the doctor arrived later. So this should be phase one. This should be phase two. Now, why I wrote it phase one, phase two is for you to remember that whichever action happens first, it always and always uses past perfect tense. Okay, and whichever part of this action happens later, it uses simple past tense. Okay, this uses simple past tense, this uses past perfect tense. Are we clear on this? By the time the doctor arrived, the patient had died. So this is past perfect tense, this is simple past tense. Two actions happening simultaneously, like one after the other. By the time we reached the station, the train had left. Right? The train had left, the train left before. So train had left and we reached the station later. Okay. So by the time we reached the station, the train had left. Okay. So again, we have two actions happening one after the other. Okay. When it comes to future perfect, again, it's not very tough, guys. Future perfect is when we'll be using will, shall along with have, right? So we can quickly come back to the chart. If we are using future perfect, again, we use will, have and verb third form. Third form means V3 is what we are referring to. Water, right? Had left, so had. So that is for the future. Perfect continuous. When do we use perfect continuous? When the action has been happening since long and it still is in continuation, right? So with perfect continuous, one, since it is continuous, we'll be using V1 with an ing. And since it is perfect, we do use has, have, had, right? And since we also show that the action has been happening since long, so in some sentences, you'll also find for or since being used, right? Now, for here doesn't give us a reason. It's not used, as a conjunction here or something to give a reason, right? It's not used as a preposition rather, but we use it to show the time period, right? We've been staying here for 9 years by now. And if I say we've been staying here since 2013, for example, right? So 2013, that's a starting point, it's a beginning point. So I should use since. If I have for, I use it with the given stipulated time period. Okay. So for 9 years, for 8 months, I have a given time period, I'll be using for. If I have a starting point, I use since. Okay. This is very simple again, not very tough to understand. So now let's move to some questions and maybe then we can come back to the tense part if in case need be. Let's quickly go through the sentences, guys, and try to figure out the type of the sentences. I've given you 7 questions on this slide. Quickly have a look at these questions and tell me what is question number 1, what type of sentence is sentence number 3, and then we discuss. 2 minutes, quickly. You can answer in the chat box, guys. Please mention the question number along with that, Rahul. Otherwise, I won't be able to understand which question are you referring to as simple present. विपिन, व्हाट इज दिस? क्यूट लग रही हो। क्वेश्चंस क्वेश्चंस कैसे क्यूट हो सकते हैं, पहले तो ये बताओ। कैन यू प्लीज shun away such comments and just focus on the questions for now? Let's discuss them if we're done. So Daman drinks coffee every morning. So this is like a habit, right? If something is a habit, it has to be simple present tense. Okay. The boy got up late and missed the bus. So यहाँ पे of course got up late and missed the bus है, लेकिन ये conjunction के साथ and के साथ connected है. So it's like boy got up late, the boy missed the bus. Overall tense is simple past. It cannot be perfect because I'm not using anyway verb third form with the has I've had. Right? My mother goes to pray in the temple every day. It's like that, right? Goes. Again, simple present tense. The team is playing very well. So at this moment, right now they're playing very well. It has to be present continuous. Right? We have even with an ing. It has to be present continuous. The school will be closed for winter break. Right? Will be closed. Will be closing nahi hai, will be closed hai. So this is referring to future. It should be a simple future. Right? Nothing to worry on whether it is continuous or not because it has a be, but yes, it says will be closing, will be something in the ing form, it would have been continuation. But it's referring to simple future. You know, what might happen in the coming winter break will be closed. Leonard graduated from college. Graduated from college last year. So action is done and dusted, simple past. Okay. The baby has eaten all the chips. So it's like he's just eaten. The baby, it has just eaten all the chips. So it should be present perfect. Okay. Has, we see it is present, and eaten is eat, ate, eaten, verb third form. Okay. Let's move to the next set of questions now. Please try these and tell me what is the type of the tense here. The sentences given here are again simple ones, just 8 of them. Shouldn't be taking more than 10 seconds for each. Be quick, guys. We got to cover some RCs as well for you. And the entire subject verb agreement still remains. So let's buck up. They're hardly 30 seconds question, like entire set. Please answer in the chat box with the numbers, the question number. Like, have you read Pride and Prejudice? Have you read? Right? So I'm asking you a question. What should it be? It is have and then read. It has to be present perfect. The train has just left the station, present perfect. The sick child has been sleeping for 3 hours. So, has been sleeping, right? We have present perfect continuous tense. Similarly, you got to figure out for the others and write down the tense along with the numbers. Yes, Rahul, this is how I want you to answer. Please do not take more than 20 seconds, guys. I want everyone to answer all the questions in one go. 1 to 8, just write PPS, present perfect, PPC, Are we done? Rahul, Vipin? I hope you guys are not having a dinner at the other side. Yeah? So पीपीसी में भी ये तो आइडेंटिफाई कर दो कि पास्ट है कि प्रेजेंट है, मुझे कैसे पता चलेगा? Okay. Have you read Pride and Prejudice? It is present perfect tense. ठीक है? Present है ये, and this is perfect. Okay. I'll anyway mention it properly so that in case some of you watch it later, shouldn't have any doubt. Okay, train has just left. So as I told you, has and just left means again present perfect tense रहेगा. Sick child has been sleeping. तो has से पता चला कि present है, sleeping से पता चला continuous है और perfect भी है. तो has present perfect continuous, right? They have known each other for a long time. Have known each other for a long time. What should it be? Like they know each other and they still know each other. What tense is it? Was going to school, past continuous. I want you guys to please help me on question number 4. I'm not able to identify it. Quickly. When I went there, Bucky was playing video games. Bucky was playing video games. So this was in continuation, past continuous. Okay. When I went, though it shows that this is simple past, what was happening there seems to be past continuous. So actual में tense of the sentence क्या हो जाएगा? Simple past tense. Why? Because I'm referring to when I went there. The action is over. It doesn't impact now. Workers have been working. So present, perfect, continuous. Have been working on the building for a long time. I told you, for a long time since 1991. Penny had done her homework when her parents came back. So had done, homework पहले हो गया, parents बाद में आए. Right? This is simple past. If you could check. And this is past perfect. If you could check. Had done her homework. Parents came back later. Right? Okay. Question number 4. They have known each other for a long time. What is the tense of the sentence, guys? Fourth one. Yes, I asked you. What is the answer for fourth? They have known each other. Present perfect हो जाएगा. ठीक है? Present perfect tense, right? Okay. Let's move to subject verb agreement now. Now, what is subject, what is verb, and what do we mean by agreement? What kind of question is it? ठीक है, तो इसमें हम जल्दी जल्दी से कुछ क्वेश्चन टाइप्स कवर करेंगे. Some concepts we'll be covering and then we'll move to some questions. Subject, as I told you, is an action initiator, right? Verb, of course, refers to action, or it could also refer to state of existence. ठीक है, and agreement means coming together in consensus. Okay, so subject verb agreement मतलब जो कि एक consensus में होगा. Howsoever the subject is, so should be the verb. मतलब important thing here to remember is if we are using a singular subject, we should use a singular verb for it. Right? If we're using plural subject, it's basic, right? Plural verb. Right? So we'll be covering quick cases for it, like case 1. If the two subjects are connected with the conjunction and. Okay. For example, if I say the CEO and director goes or goes okay, the CEO and director leave or leaves for a meeting tonight. And the other sentence says very basic one again. Bread and butter is or are my favorite breakfast. Okay. And there's another sentence which says the CEO and the director hosts or hosts a party, say tonight. It's a Friday night. Okay, so what do we expect the answers to be here? Can I have some answers, guys? Some options in the chat box quickly. Move to the question directly, ma'am. राहुल क्वेश्चन से डिस्कस कर रहे हैं, बता दो इनके आंसर्स. Can I have your answers, guys, please? Okay. How do we decide whether it's 2 for option 1 or 1 for option 2? How do we decide that? Yeah. Ma'am, थोड़ा clearly लिखना. Okay, I'll work on my writing for sure. But I think it's still. Is it legible enough, Rahul? Could you read it? इतनी गंदी तो नहीं है मेरे ख्याल से विपिन. ग्रामर वीक है मेरी वैसी भी. अच्छा ठीक है. इतनी भी वीक नहीं. You're still writing grammar with an A. That's good to see. Most of the people miss on that, but it's good that you could do that. Okay. So CEO and director, right? So I am referring to the same person here, the CEO and director. It is connected with and, of course. It seems like there are two different people, the CEO and the director. But here what's happening is, if we look at question number 1, question number 3, the CEO and director, the CEO and the director. This is where the difference lies. Okay, when I say CEO and director, it's referring to two different positions but the same person, right? Same person means the verb has to be singular, it should be leaves. Whereas in sentence number 3, the CEO and the director host. So we have two people, two different positions. It should be host a party tonight, right? We need host here and not hosts. Bread and butter is or are my favorite breakfast. What is it, Rahul? Bread and butter is or are my favorite breakfast. आंसर तो मैं चेक कर रही हूँ राहुल, बट तुम्हें समझ आ गया होगा व्हाई द आंसर इज नॉट होस्ट्स. इट शुड बी होस्ट. Host is plural. I hope you get that. That's what we discussed in the very early stage of the session itself. We just discussed it today itself, right? So please don't forget that host is plural, hosts is singular. Yeah. So what is the answer for second one? Bread and butter. It should be is, not are, because eventually it's the combination. You don't eat bread separately and butter separately, right? Bread and butter is my favorite breakfast. Similarly, if I say, writing it carefully, not to mess my handwriting this time, the total weight of the bus, not bust of course, and the passengers is or are 30 tons. Total weight of the bus and the passengers is or are 30 tons. Got 2 right and 1 wrong. Rahul, that's a good score, no? Out of 3. Yeah, just got 66% here. What is the answer here? Total weight of the bus and the passengers is or are 30 tons? I didn't write it in, you know, in words. I just wrote the numbers so that I could cut down on my time. 50,000 rupees is or are a lot of money. Is 30 tons? Why not are? How do we decide that, Vipin? If it has to be is? We're not moving ahead till you give me the reasons, guys. What triggered you to go for is here? Is a lot of money? Why doesn't rupees sound plural to you, Rahul? So in question number 1, the total weight. Here the focus is on total weight. Okay. Here the total weight is the focus, this is where the focus lies. And this anyway has to be one number. 30 tons is like one number. So is 30 tons. 50,000 rupees is a lot of money, right? Is. Eventually it's a sum, right? Whether it's 50,000 rupees, dollars, 50,000 billion dollars, whatever, eventually it's going to be one number. So it has to be singular, right? So we are using is for both. Okay. Shall we try questions or you want to discuss some more concepts? Because there are a lot of concepts around it, but maybe discussing concepts should help. So let me give you the other case now first. Let me come here. Let's quickly keep case 2. If you have A as well as B, A along with B, A in conjunction to, together with, besides, right? So what are we doing? We have two subjects again, right? We have two subjects again, A and B, right? But in case 1, the basic thing was that we had A and B. So both the subjects were equally important, right? This time, the catch is, ठीक है, Vipin, please ignore that sound of my handwriting if it's bothering you. I'm really sorry, but it's my pen tab. Okay, so when you have two subjects A and B connected with and, the conjunction, you focus equally on both the subjects, right? But at the same time, if something is connected with a conjunction that looks like and, it seems like and, but it is not and, that is anything other than and, the other subject, the subject B, is more like a stepchild, right? So you don't focus on it much. The entire focus lies on the prime subject, that is the subject A. You don't focus on subject B then, in that case. Okay, so entire focus lies here. This is your primary subject. Okay, this is all your stepchild, right? Or more of a secondary subject, you can ignore this. Okay, so if I say the cat along with the kittens play or plays with the swings. What should be the answer here? Yes, guys. Why, please? The focus is on the first subject, right? What's my first subject here? It's cat. This is singular, so it should use singular verb. Okay. Okay, another thing is if I use X or Y, right? Either X or Y, neither X nor Y. Okay. So again, for example, if I say um, neither the dolphins nor the octopus came to attend my wedding, said the whale. What should we have here? Neither the dolphins nor the octopus came to attend my wedding. Quick 1 minute, answer this question, guys. Yes, guys? What is it? Neither the dolphins nor the octopus. Okay. Just a second. यहाँ पे तो कोई issue ही नहीं हुआ. So this is dance and dances. Neither the dolphins nor the octopus dance or dances with the whale. What do we have here? This is one subject which is plural. This is one subject which is singular. Okay? And then you have dances or dance. Yeah. How do we decide whether it's going to be this subject or this subject? So here we follow a very important rule called rule of proximity. Okay? Which states the verb agrees with the subject closest to the blank. Right? So here, dolphins nor the octopus. This is the ruling subject. It should be dances. We can't go with dance here. Are we clear on this? We always focus on the subject which is closest to the verb. Okay? Closest to the blank. So verb agrees, that is the blank here should be as per the subject closest to it, which is octopus, which is a singular subject. So I go for dances. I hope this is clear. All right. So similarly, the case is going to be for either an X as well, X or Y. So I hope you can do that. Then if I say X, not Y, not X, but Y. Problems at my home, not my affair with my colleague is or are responsible for my being upset. For example, what do we have here? This is X, not Y. Okay. So how do we figure out? We always look for something which is positive only, right? We always look for the positive subjects. We don't care about the negative subjects here, right? Life may be negative hota hai, positive hota hai, you always go for the positive. So X not Y may we strike off Y. Not X but Y may we strike off X. So here we'll be ruling with X. That is problems at my home are responsible for my being upset because not comes with my affair. Are we good with this? Okay. So these are few cases you can remember. Let's move to some questions now. Okay. For example, I give you one more sentence. Not my portfolio, but my investments in cryptocurrency is or are responsible for my financial doom. Idioms की पीडीएफ दे दीजिए एंड फ्रेजल वर्ब्स की. विपिन ये कहाँ से आया है? अभी क्या डिस्कस कर रहे हैं? डिस्कसिंग ग्रामर, राइट? Idioms से phrasal verbs बाद में देखते हैं. Maybe we can have a few more classes for grammar and then we can come to idioms and some vocabulary. Okay, please focus on what is going on in the class and try to answer what is being asked rather than just giving suggestions here and there. We can definitely take it up after we're done with these questions. Okay, I would welcome your suggestions post we're done with the sentences. Okay, please focus on the class right now. What's being discussed here? So can you help me with the answer here, guys? Not my portfolio, but my investments in cryptocurrency is or are responsible for my financial doom. Is. Why not are? विपिन मेरी हैंडराइटिंग समझ आई है? I'll write it again in case. This is your not X but Y. What is your Y here? Investments. How would you agree? Focusing on positive. What is positive here? राहुल यहाँ पे positive क्या है? Tell me. Can we quickly discuss? Investments, ठीक है? वो plural है. My investments. So this is plural. So shouldn't I be using are here? Are responsible for my financial doom? Investments है ना? हाँ. Okay. Can you help me with the answer for this? Let's just keep it as company X. Come too complex unnecessarily. The statistics shows a huge jump in the valuation of company X. Show? Why not shows? Rahul, how do we decide that? Why are we going for show? You think statistics is plural or singular, first of all? How do you find your subject to be here? Is it singular? Is it plural? Why show is the answer? Statistics as a whole से मतलब नहीं है. Subject singular है या plural है? If you say that is your subject, ये क्या है? Is it singular or plural? It's singular. तो सिंगुलर के साथ तो shows यूज करेंगे ना, फिर शो थोड़ी यूज करेंगे, राइट? इट शुड बी shows. That's what we discussed कि अगर verb होता है उस केस में V1 के साथ S या ES लगाते हैं तो वो सिंगुलर बनता है, राइट? If I say show, this is a plural form of verb, right? If I add S to it, it becomes shows. अब ये सिंगुलर हो जाएगा. Good with this? ठीक है, अभी थोड़े से क्वेश्चंस करते हैं जल्दी से. Let's try these questions. Quick 10 questions. 2 minutes. Answers here. Each of the girls dash her own dress. Has or have? Let's discuss it together if you're done. Or I'll give you 30 seconds at least. I wish we could talk here, like, and discuss these very quickly rather than you pinging out every answer. Yeah, so each of the girls, right? Girls is plural, but we're referring to every girl. So has, not have. Okay. 5 miles is like rupees wala question, so is a long distance. Many a man dash tried hard to climb the treacherous mountain range. Many a man, like many man, So many a man has tried, not have. Can I have here? Many a man have tried? No. Many men have tried or many a man has tried? Out of many men, every man has tried. It's like that. The furniture of the house, again, furniture is singular, is quite impressive. Few students are coming to the party. Had it been a few students, तो भी आर ही आता, लेकिन अगर द हो जाता तो इज हो जाता. ठीक है? Uma, my childhood friend, is leaving for Delhi next month. Most of my friends are government employees. The level of pain tolerance varies from person to person. Either Tina or Rohit is telling a lie or telling lies. A number of people were reported, whatever. So it has to be were reported to have fallen sick after drinking dirty water from the tube well. So did you find these questions tough? No, right? Next time when we meet, this was a very basic session, guys. Next time when we meet, I'm going to pick up good CMAT and CMAT level questions, maybe from the previous years. Also some questions beyond that level so that we're prepared for it. Furniture singular ही है. Labor, furniture, इसका plural use करने का requirement है ही ना. It's like we use it as a collective noun here. Not even a collective noun, but anyway, when we talk about luggage, furniture, it is used in a singular form. Okay. So this is it, guys. We'll catch up next on maybe Sunday. It's Friday today. Day after tomorrow we meet again. So in that time, in that duration, maybe you can try some questions from CMAT previous years in case you'd want to. Try some mocks and get some doubts in case you come across anything. It was easy? Yes, it was. All right. Thank you so very much, guys. See you on coming Sunday. Please keep revising these concepts. This would help you to brush up on your grammar basics, at least, the fundamentals. And next time when we meet, we'll practice some RCs along with some tougher questions. All right. Thank you so much and have a great night. See you on Sunday now.